Good evening. This evening, I want us to discuss about enmity. And enmity, and then jealousy, and then hatred. Gradually, war take place, nation against nation, countries against country, and so on and so forth. Some Bible scholars said that the long last war against Israel began from the tent of Abraham. Why? Because Abraham was the forefather of Israelites, as well as almost all the Middle East countries. He was promised by the living God that he would become the father of all nations. But it was hard for him to stand firm on God's promise as his wife Sarah and he were way too old to bear a son. They both agreed that Abraham would go to Hagar, the slave of Sarah, in order to have God's promised son. As a result, Ishmael was born. Ishmael thought he was the one and only heir of Abraham. The whole promised land was his. That's what he thought. The promised land is also called Canaan and also called Israel and of course also called Palestine. By the way, Palestine means invader land. Those who know Hebrew, you may know better. Pales means invade. Palestine means invader land. And they were believed to be Philistine people who invaded the land while Israelites were scattered all around the world. And the recreation of Israel took place in 1948. You can Google this and check it. But years later, Isaac was born miraculously from the barren womb of Sarah in her old age. Ishmael would persecute him because of jealousy. Long story short, Hagar, the slave, and Ishmael had to leave the promised land. When they left, Ishmael might have been filled with hatred, anger, sorrows, shame, and jealousy. Today, the neighbor countries of Israel are very rich and wealthy because God blessed them. Yet, they still want to fight with a very tiny country, which is Israel. The reason behind is the enmity between Ishmael and Isaac. Hatred is fully grown up and it becomes endless war. Initially, Ishmael used only his hand to persecute his half brother, and then later on, swords and spear, arrow and bow, and finally guns and bombs and whatever. Today we can see endless war take place. Hatred cannot expel hatred, as darkness cannot expel darkness. That is why Jesus came down as a human being to show his unconditional love. He gave us only two commandments: to love God and to love human beings. He gave his life as a ransom for us all. If we have the love of God in our heart, then only the whole world will have peace. Let us not pay evil for evil or hatred for hatred. Instead, let us love each other and forgive each other. Thank you and God bless you. See you again.